Recently I've been asked to share some ideas about what to do with untidy cables or wires lying on the surface. So that's what this video is about. So if you had a situation like this where various wires are lying around, I've just staged these to put them in a position where I can show you what to do about them. Not only are they untidy looking, but it's also a bit of a safety hazard. Now, if you have a single cable like this, one of the things you can do is use some of these cable clips. Now, it's not my favorite thing. All you do is take the clip and you clip it onto the cable like that, and then you put the cable where you want it, and then you just nail the cable So that's the situation there. It's not ideal. You still get quite a few ripples like that in the cable, and it doesn't look very neat. I'm not a great fan of those. The other problem is you've got to have a surface that you can nail into, and it also damages the surface. So if it's a fine piece of furniture or something, you wouldn't want to be doing this. And if you have several cables to tidy up, then a piece of conduit is an option. It's not my favorite option, but I'll just show you. You can get several cables into a conduit. The limitation is, however, that the cable's got to be thin enough, or the end of the cable's got to be thin enough to pass through the conduit. If you've got a situation like this where you've got a plug on the end, you won't get that through. So once you've threaded it through, then you've got to stabilize it in position. There's two kinds of clips you can use. There's this saddle clip and then the half saddle clip if you're up against a wall. So in this case we'd have to use the half saddle like that. If we used the full saddle, we'd have to pull it away from the wall, which wouldn't look very nice. Then obviously you'd have to put some screws or nails in those holes to secure it. So that's the second option. It's not my favorite option, but in certain situations it's pretty good. I'll just show you in the shed here where they've put in their electrical connections. They've used conduit here, and I mean that works really well. It looks quite neat. And you've got these various fittings, elbows and that, so you can take corners. So it looks quite good. Now, my most favorite method of hiding cables is to use this square channel, which consists of a U-shaped channel with a clip-on cover. There, the clips there. And you just peel off like that. Get it off, and then you can attach your channel like that and then lay your cable in the channel, and then you clip the lid back on like that. I'll show you that in a minute. Now, they come in various sizes. This is quite a narrow one. This is a 13mm, which will just take one cable really. Then you go up in size from that, and you get a 25 by 25, and then you've also got a 25 by 50. Depending on how many cables you need to hide, you choose the size accordingly. But be careful, if your cables are carrying a lot of current, they can heat up, so you don't want to pack these too tightly with electrical cable because they can overheat, and that's not good. So I'll demonstrate now how I use this channel to hide cables and neaten things up. Right, now just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use the 13mm channel just to hide a single cable, and I'll also show you how I deal with a corner in this situation. Now, the first thing I do is peel the lid off, so you just pull that off like that, get that out the way, then your channel's exposed. And then the next step is to secure your channel to the surface. I just use these little button head screws. This is just a 13mm length with a little button head. And you can screw these into plasterboard as well. But if you're going along a plasterboard wall, try and secure the odd place where you can into a wooden stud as well, just to give it a bit more stability. Right, so let's do that first. I'll just need two just to show you how everything works. There we go. Then with the corner, I just put a simple butt joint there like that. I'll screw that into the side as well. So the next maneuver is to get your cable in. So we'll just lay it in there, get it into position, and then you just clip the lid back on, making sure you line it up properly, because it's not easy to move it once it's clipped in. Sometimes you just need to give it a little tap. Get that in nicely like that. Right, then for the butt joint, you just cut a little bit off the lid where it's going to go into the butt joint, so it doesn't go all the way over. So I'll just do that. Just give it a nip like that. You can use a pair of heavy scissors. And then just get it started on this side. And then you can just press it back on. As I said, every now and again you might need to use a hammer. But mostly you can just press it on. There we go. And obviously the beauty of using this channel with the removable lid is if you've got something on the end of your cable, like a plug or an appliance or something, that won't fit through the conduit, the round conduit that I showed you earlier, you know, it won't go through that hole. So this is where the channel is really good, because it doesn't matter if you've got an appliance on either end of the cable, it'll still go in the channel. You just remove the lid, put the cable in, put the lid back on. Now here in the study we've had quite a few challenges with hiding cables, because it looks really untidy when you've got a whole lot of cables on your desk and that. And I'll just show you what we've done in a practical sense with some of these cables. One of my favorite methods for a quick and easy way to hide cables, particularly if you need access to them quite regularly, is this aluminium channel. It's pretty sturdy. It's got a little bit of weight, so that helps as well in the situation that I use it. And I often use it on the floor. And I'll just show you in this situation here. You can see those cables coming out of the power point, running under that bit of channel and going off over there. And I'll just lift this up so that you can see what it's hiding. So all of that is being hidden by that channel. So that's pretty useful, and you can get to it very quickly if you want to vacuum or something like that. Right, then I just thought I'd show you this situation under the desk here, where I've had to hide an extension cable. Remember that 13mm plastic channel that I showed you? That's it running along there like that. And then as you can see, this, if you paint it the same color as the wall or the skirting, it's pretty discreet. You can hardly notice it, and it works very well in corners, I've found. I'll just put one there just to show you. You can just about, it almost looks like a feature of the wall, and if it's painted the same color as the wall, you hardly notice it at all. So these are pretty handy. And you'll notice these cabinets, there's a little gap behind them, and that's important. I'll show you how we've managed to use those. And then what we've done here is you just drill a standard hole, I think it's 63mm, through the countertop. Then you can buy these little covers that go over. You fit it like that, and it's got a little piece that comes out. If you pull it off like that, that comes out, and then it just clips in again like that. So that's very neat. Put it in there. Then what we do, because these cabinets are a little way away from the wall, we've got a space between the wall and the cabinet. So we use that to hide cables as well. So like for instance, this cable lying on the surface, what you can do with it is just fold it over and push it down into the hole like that and neaten it up like that. You could also put a bit of the aluminium channel there to hide that bit if you want to. And also similarly on this side, we've done a similar thing here. It's a bit dark in there, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. But there's a hole in the cabinet there. We've just stuffed all the excess cable down the hole and it's hanging behind the cabinet. So that's pretty handy. And these little bamboo charging stations are pretty handy as well. You can get them from Amazon or eBay or something like that. But they're pretty good at hiding all the ugly wires involved in this procedure. I'll just show you what's in here. There's my phone. And then if you lift the lid off, underneath is all the mess of wires and your USB. And then finally, I just wanted to show you another thing that I've done to hide cables. What I've done, very simply, I've got some timber, cut it into 3 equal lengths. 2 lengths are the side and 1 length is the top. In this case, the top's a bit wider than the sides, but you don't have to do that. And then you can hide cables like that, but the beauty of it is that you're making yourself a little shelf as well. So that little shelf is very handy, keeps things off the surface. And I'll just show you what it looks like underneath. It's a hang of a mess of cables. So if we took that off and we picked that up, so look at that mess under there. So that's a fantastic solution, hiding cable that's running along your desktop. Now if you found this useful, please like and share this video and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. And if you have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. Just scroll right down to the bottom and you'll find the comments section there. Thank you very much for watching.